but like patched together, like, what do you got, and we're so clever, and like, and they talked about that kind of thing a little too much, about like, you guys did that with A Day in the Life, right? Like they kind of like, and it's masterpiece because of John Lennon.
Mm-hmm.
But like, by the time that comes around, it's embarrassing, I think, like, and it's funny because I like the Lennon parts. Like I like Mean Mr. Mustard sounds pretty cool, and Polythene Pam has got a certain,
But the thing is, they are fragments. I think she came in through the bathroom window, like, is a great little melody there. But you know what I mean? But would I want 3.5 minutes of it,
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, on the same record, Paul's doing Maxwell's Silver Hammer. So he's fleshing out shit that's like, like the whole band hates it, except for him.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And right. And at the same time, John is doing, like, George has done Wonderwall, right? This is all in the same year, right? He's done Wonderwall, a very experimental record.
That's the very first record that came out as a solo record.
Right. Yeah. And
George Harrison.
George Harrison before Abbey Road. John's,
that's
doing
68. Right.
Okay.
It's got to be
early 69. Yeah. I think he does it. He makes it like in the fall of 68 or whatever, but I think it comes out, it's like in early 69. Right.
It's a great record. By the way, I truly enjoy that record.
I'm trying to get an affordable copy on vinyl.
So when is Abbey Road recorded? It's after the Get Back sessions are done.
They like January 30th or whatever. They're done. Like they put the whole What's the Get Back sessions away. They've moved on. They do Abbey Road in the spring, and it comes out in the summer, right?
Well,
and
why? Let me just ask you from a record label standpoint. They have a record in the can.
No, they don't. No, they
just
don't.
have tracks.
They have 80 hours of crap.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm trying to say. There is.
But how do you call?
But Glenn Johns has mixed it and called it Get Back and presented it to the band, and the band found it to be subpar and rejected it.
Okay.
And then it went back onto the dustbin.
But how do you as a band or as how do they then compartmentalize? Okay, that project is done. That's the Get Back sessions. And then at some point they're like, we need to get back in the studio. Let's do another record. Like that's
Chris, you probably be better at doing this. So what failed? Like none of the songs that ended up on Abbey Road were part of we're on that final Get Back record that got rejected, right? But they do, like, I want to say there are songs that ended up on Abbey Road that kind of get tried during those sessions, right? I want to say there's even like a Maxwell Silver Hammer or something like that on there, right? Like, I'm trying to think because I don't think they start all over again when they do Abbey Road. It's like, okay, those songs are got like, right? There's not a single song that makes it.
I'm kind of wondering, like, you would think that, like, of all the songs, so like on Abbey Road, George has 2 songs. And it's something which is, masterful, as well as Here Comes the Sun. Mm-hmm. And they're both, arguably the greatest songs that George Harrison ever wrote.
That's the thing is but there's definitely All Things Must Pass songs.
That's the thing. It's just like, did they, in those 90 hours, like, is there a pass at, something or,
yeah, I want to say the only thing I kind of remember from all those Get Back sessions might be like Maxwell Silver Hammer. Like it was like it's kind of weird. Like I want to say that they must have had some sort of, it's like, okay, no, you're bringing us new songs. Like we don't want to try any of those songs.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that to me is like, that's incredible. Go ahead.
I think that there's like, they're just, there's a certain autopilot that they were on. And this is just me thinking about, like, I think there was partly ego, partly contractual, like where, you know, like they had done the Let It Be sessions, as it were, and you know, by John Lennon's account, like, you know, it was just like, it was a shitty recording session with a bad load of feelings all over it, and and like nobody wanted to be bothered to do anything with it, and it kind of went on the shelf. And like you said, like, you know, he starts putting out some early Plastic Ono Band-ish kind of stuff. That's, you know,
Chance comes out that year, right? Yeah.
What was that, John?
Give Peace a Chance, like
Peace a Chance.
The whole Yoko, John and Yoko thing, really. But
he's like I'm going to go and meet Gary Trudeau, and I'm going to go plant acorns for peace, and I'm going to go. You know, he starts a whole thing where it's just like, you know, Cambridge '69 comes out with him just like feedbacking in front of Cambridge like students and stuff like that, with Yoko kind of going and like, you know, that came out like it was a record, you know, like, and I think he just kind of was like, I'm doing this whole other thing. So they were, like, the Beatles were like, yeah, like that came second to him, I think, to a certain degree. But I think that the ego portion of it was, again, like, you know, a dump it on Paul, but it's like, you know, we can't go out like that. So because there's like, he goes back to George Martin. And, you know, there's a famous story where he goes back to George Martin and just like, you know, so this is what we want to do. We want to make another record, and we want you to come in, and we really want you to produce it because you're the best producer in the world, and da-da-da-da-da. And George Harrison's like, but are you going to let, George Martin's like, are you going to let me produce it? Or are you going to, you know, and he's just like, no, it's going to be like the old days. And you just like, so I think it was like, that they literally didn't want to go out like with this whimper, like, which is the way they would have went out. And meanwhile, they're whipped up by Alan Klein. Let's face it, like any kind of product is good product, you know, like get it out, you know, and we'll fulfill this and that, you know, Capitol like that. Now, Hey Jude doesn't come out until later on, but they're putting singles out still. Hey Jude comes out, and it's fucking like, Hey Jude. Is there a better single? Like, it might be the greatest single of all time.
Hey Jude's the first Apple single. That's in '68. Hey Jude Revolution. Yeah, that's predates the White Album.
So okay. Anyway, I did say it might be the greatest single of all time.
Yeah,
it's tough to argue with that one. They're in competition with themselves, I think, on that one. I mean, because you could go the other way, like, because the B-side is devastating too. You know,
right?
Yeah. I mean, people kind of
double A, but right.
But people go with like Sgt. Pepper and with Penny Lane and Strawberry Fields too. But I'm sorry for but Hey Jude Revolution, like
it's unbelievable.
But you know what I mean? It hits you both ways. Like it's not just like you're not just impressed by the production and the melody and the this and that. I mean, you could, you know, 4-year-old kid would be thrilled just as much as an 80-year-old who's heard every piece of music by that. You know what I mean? It works on every level. You know, it really that is a tough one to beat. But Tony, so essentially they finished. They know John. This is the last record. John's essentially literally when Abbey Road comes out, John's kind of done.
Okay.
You know, so right. They then John actually pushes for something to be a single for George. He thinks it's the best thing on the record, and so that comes out, and he's done. He does live piece in Toronto with Eric Clapton and Klaus Vormann and Yoko. He goes and he starts working on what and then but he's essentially told you can't announce that you're quitting the band. You can't announce you're quitting the band. We're working on and they give Phil Spector all the scraps of the other thing, and they're working on that, whatever. And then I actually wish, well, maybe I feel like Chris should come back to react to this one, but right. So then what really pisses John off, Paul puts out a press release saying he's dropping a solo album.
Oh my God.
He's quit the Beatles.
Oh
so
my God.
Beat John to the announcement, even though John had told him 8 months before and he talked him out of it to do Abbey Road.
Yeah.
So, and
right. So when does just tell me one more time again, when does Abbey Road officially start, the sessions start? You said March?
I mean, it's got to be April, May or June of '69.
Oh, okay.
Out by September.
Okay. So there's a couple of months, I guess, from you said that, the other Get Back stuff is done by the end of January. There's like,
Done.
there's like 3 months, 2 to 3 months go by before they're like, hey, let's get back. So this arguing or this debate.
I don't know when the whole plan, because they do, right. They pretty much work every day, through January. So they take a break, but then Glyn Johns puts together what's going to be the Get Back album. Right. It gets rejected. The only thing that comes out is the Get Back single. And then they're, well, what are we going to do next? And that's where they convince, they talk to George Martin, and they're gonna do Abbey Road. So
what is that, John? There's the one that's Get Back, Loretta, like, and then the other one is just like, it breaks down because it's the rooftop one. Yeah. Which, is one Apple and the other Capital, or is one the single and the other the record?
Single and one's the album track. One's the single, and the other one is the one that ends up on the Let It Be album.
What's the difference between? There's two recorded and popularized takes of Let It Be as well. One with George plays a more electric guitar solo on it. But how are they differentiated? Do you remember? Like,
I don't know if I know the difference between the Let It Be one. I mean, one could be a single edit. They also, there's like 35 takes of each of these,
But they were like, officially released in the time. Like, it was like, there was one that had like this, it had more of the organ part. And then there was another part, like one with like more of a George Harrison guitar line in it. And I'm like,
I mean, off the top of my head, I don't know which one's which, but there was a single for Let It Be that came out that with my name. So the Beatles' last single ever was My Name, Look Up the Number, and Let It Be.
I'm going to say my first version of Let It Be might have come off of the Blue record. So you get used to hearing that sound, and then of all things, like, I'll get all local on you. I went to like Clixie's hot dog joint used to have. The jukebox, the little booth jukeboxes, and they had Let It Be was on there, and I remember clicking on that and hearing, I was just like, the hell is this? It was different from the Blue record, and I was just like, but I was a kid, so.
So that's okay. So the compilation obviously took the album version, because the single version is what they literally, it's the single itself is in the jukebox. So
makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. So that's so Tony, to circle all the way back around I mean, the Beatles, like, kind of like, it was sort of like, here, let's give this to, and John Lennon even says, look, we gave all of that crap to Phil Spector, and he made it sound pretty good. That's why I used him as a producer. He got the worst of it.
Yeah.
No, I think it's overcooked. To a certain extent, I don't know if I would necessarily say I like the naked version better, but I certainly never put on Long and Winding Road, or I like the
But I like the Long and Winding Road, like, for what it is from my sentimental youth. So when I hear it without the Phil Spector stuff, I'm just kind of like, yeah, that's another version of it, But it doesn't. It's like the definitive one. Like, no, too late for that. You know what I mean? Like, and like it is what it is. I mean, it's the Long and Winding Road. It's kind of
So do we know,
mawkish to begin with?
With a third, it's the third attempt to rewrite "Hey Jude."
Yeah, right.
Guys, do we know what went on where it was like you said? I guess George Martin leaves, or is out of there. The engineer, who's Glyn Johns, I presume, right, takes over, and he's now mixed the album. He mixes the album, and then he presents it to the band, and the band's like, "No, we don't like this," and it's shelved. At what point?
Glyn Johns, like, he splits to it, like before Abbey Road, I thought, and starts doing Pink Floyd and stuff. He's like, I've had it with you guys, because they didn't use his version, and I thought he was gone. And
so Glyn Johns.
Emmerich, like, what about Emmerich? Where's he?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, these guys kind of like go on. Like, I don't know the exact whereabouts of how people got moved in and out there, but right. So I mean, Glenn Johns is working with the
He's
Stones.
late.